Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. I know you're sat here thinking, Benson, like the game is done. The game's over. Liverpool 5, Chelsea 3. Where was the video straight after the game? Well, I had some issues with actually watching the game. I missed the last 20 minutes of the game live, which is a real shame because arguably that was probably 20 of the better minutes of Chelsea's performance due to my internet connection, which is just absolutely wonderful. Then there was no time to upload a video because I had no internet, and well, you know, it is what it is. Excuses are excuses. I'm here now with 6 things that we've learnt from Liverpool 5, Chelsea 3, an 8-goal thriller at Anfield, the day that Liverpool lifted the Premier League trophy, and we learnt so much about this Chelsea team, and I think, if anything, we learnt things that we already knew about that were cemented in bricks and flipping mortar after losing this game. So, as you can see on the screen, we've got 1 blue box because there is a man who deserves some serious praise, 2 greens, and 3 reds. And I think that actually, from all of the videos this season of 6 things that we've learned, where I actually upload it late, this one, in retrospect, when I can watch everything back again, is one where I feel as though reactionary fans, straight after the game, which is often the majority of these videos, a lot of the time we look at the fact we conceded 5 and we don't really like to touch upon the actual good things that came and were seen in Chelsea's performances. So, I've managed to pick out a few of the good things today, but before we get into it, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the George Benson football channel. There's one more game in the Premier League season before we focus on the FA Cup final, and there is also the Champions League game against Bayern, as well as God knows how many other transfer rumours that we can be discussing over the next few weeks. So, without any further ado, Captain America, you know already that he's the blue box. When the man came on, at first, I was a little surprised. Despite the knock that we knew he had before the game against United, I was very surprised that Frank Lampard didn't start with Christian Pulisic on this game. I think if he's fit enough to be on the bench, then he's probably fit enough to start the game. And I think what we saw when Pulisic came on is A, his world-class ability to actually change a game. The dribble for the assist for Tammy Abraham is absolutely fantastic against the best team in the Premier League, arguably this season one of the best teams in Europe. Christian Pulisic came on and completely shifted the dynamic of the game. We know that Jurgen Klopp was very keen to bring Pulisic to Liverpool. We were the ones who signed him, and I think a lot of us forget that despite the excitement of the Ziyech signing, the Werner signing, the supposedly imminent signing of someone like Kai Havertz, Christian Pulisic coming in and only being 21 years old, having that extra season that he's had this season, despite it being plagued with injuries, to acclimatise to the Premier League, to get used to being muscled off the ball and thrown down to the floor. What we're seeing now from Pulisic is a fearlessness when he's running forward with the ball. Ever since the Premier League restart, we've seen that his direct runs, they're contributing to assists and also goals for Chelsea. I mentioned the assist first, but the way that he takes that second goal as well shows a calmness on the ball. The way that he does turn, we know that he can use both feet. He scored with both his right and his left, and even his head at times this season as well. And I think that we've spoken a lot about Mateo Kovacic and the influence that he's had on Chelsea's performances this season. As the season draws nearer, if Pulisic scores the winner against Wolves to secure Chelsea top 4 football come Sunday, we might be talking about CP being our player of the season. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. There's no doubt that he deserves at least something this season for Chelsea because, as we've known with Eden Hazard over the years, again, I hate to bring up the comparison, but we're seeing now that Pulisic has the individual ability to change the game in Chelsea's favour. Now, we lost the game 5-3, and I'm about to go into the reasons why, as I choke on my flipping words, in a second, but we cannot fault Pulisic's performance. He came on, changed the game for Chelsea, got us back in it, and I mean, if we didn't score 3, it would have been a far less appealing scoreline. And even though we hate losing 5-3, Pulisic made it a lot better than what it would have been if he wasn't introduced. So box number 2, I've tried, Kepa, okay? I'm even like messing around my flipping eyebrows for you. I've tried to praise you. I've tried to stick by you, and I've said time and time again how I want Chelsea and us fans to give you a chance as Chelsea's number 1. What I saw in that game against Liverpool, and I've watched a load of videos afterwards, I've seen the analysis, and you know, I'm not stupid. I see the Naby Keita goal. It's a brilliant strike into the top corner. Trent Alexander-Arnold, brilliant dead ball. It's a great free kick. Some of the goals, there's not really anything he can do about them. But the problem that I have is, again, as a goalkeeper with the flailing arm, which is the furthest away from the one that should be closest to the ball, it's coming up over his head. And is that really the best way for a goalkeeper to make a save, to tip a shot over the crossbar? I don't think it is, just for a start, from a basic technique perspective. But again, like, the way that he controls the box, it's non-existent. And I think that, you know, considering we conceded 5 goals, yes, some of them he maybe shouldn't have... I'm tired of it. I'm tired of not seeing a commanding goalkeeper. I'm tired of not seeing someone who can pull out some massive saves when we need him to. And I think that, you know, a couple of the goals he didn't even try and go for. So the way I'm looking at this, a 5-3 is a flattering scoreline for a very good team. Let's not take anything away from Liverpool. They're the Premier League champions. They're the best team in this country. And they deserve to beat us. That is a fact. I'm not going to try and deny any of that. But, you know, the basic things in football, Chelsea had other chances. Yes, we could have converted them. If Kepa would have made a bit more flipping effort to save some of these shots, we might not have gone away with a 5-3 defeat, which, you know, when you concede 5 goals, it kind of really puts a spanner in the works as to how you analyse a game of football. And at the end of the day, as I always say on the George Benson Football channel, the only stat that matters is the goals and the goals. And we conceded 5 and lost the flipping game. So Kepa, it wasn't good enough. I didn't see anything near the kind of level of leadership that I expect from a goalkeeper. No big saves were made. And at this point, I can understand why it might be time to go. So we move into box number 3. And again, a lot of Chelsea fans, when we look at a defeat like this, we look at the gap between Chelsea and Liverpool and we think, oh, thank goodness, we've got attacking players coming in next season like Ziyech and Werner who can score us the goals, so that if we are going to be awful and atrocious defensively, we might be able to score 5 as well and we can snatch a point in a 5-5 draw at Anfield. But the one positive I will say is the 2 strikers who got on the score sheet, both Olivier Giroud and Tammy Abraham. I think tactically, it might not have been the smartest move to go with Giroud as the striker for this game. But again, he's in the right place at the right time. Willian's shot is saved. He's there for the rebound and he tucks it in. It was a good finish. And again, he had to be alert. He had to be smart. He had to know that that ball was going to drop in between the goalkeeper, the defender and the goal. Olivier Giroud gets himself in there, and then Tammy Abraham as well. He came on, and I think that Chelsea, in terms of how mobile we looked, even though we know Olivier Giroud is very good at holding up the ball, I thought we looked a lot more mobile when Tammy Abraham was introduced. He got the goal as well. Yes, it's a tap-in, but it's still a good finish for a striker who's come under criticism. And I think that, you know, in a defeat like this, especially when I'm making the video 2 days later, I could sit here and just spend the whole day bashing the defence for conceding 5. But I've tried to look at it from the perspective of, like, Liverpool are a very good team. We know this season that Chelsea's matches have been very open. We always like to attack, which always leaves us vulnerable at the back. And against a team that attacks so well and that press so well, is anyone, like, truly surprised that we lost the game 5-3? I'm not really surprised, if I'm honest. It wasn't a shock that we conceded 5 and still scored 3 and lost the game. Liverpool are a very good team. I know in my previews I always say how Chelsea will beat. That's just the way I like to approach my previews. I don't really care if I come unstuck. You win football matches, you lose football matches. If you want to leave a comment saying how dreadful I am as a person as a result of that, be my flipping guest. But I want to give a shout out to the 2 strikers. With the attacking players coming in, it's good to still see that the players we've got in attacking areas in the club are still scoring goals for us now. So box number 4, again, when there are so many defensive frailties present in the Chelsea team, I've just stuck a load of text saying overall defensive weakness highlight, need for additions. It was the only thing that fitted in the box, really. And, you know, I could have pinpointed individual performances, but Kepa was the individual that deserved to be pinpointed for criticism. So, again, I think what this game showed us is that it doesn't matter how good Chelsea are going forward, it doesn't matter how many new signings we make in an attacking sense, if we don't improve this defence, we are not going to win the Premier League. This defence needs reinforcements. Again, like between Zuma, Rudiger and Aspi, I know that Aspi's best position isn't the right centre-back position. I'm not going to single him out. I thought he was probably one of the better of the defenders. I think that the way that we tried to spread the ball out to the wingers was very good. But again, in defensive areas, the frailties were just so alarmingly obvious. Whenever the ball came near to the box, Chelsea weren't quick enough. Rudiger wasn't closing down Naby Keita the way I think he should have been, running out to the first ball, but Naby Keita scored that goal. I think positionally, again, when crosses are coming into the box of such high quality, Chelsea need to be more alert defensively. And I think that even though we can pinpoint Kepa for criticism, overall, I don't necessarily think it was the wrong tactical decision from Frank to play with three at the back with 3-4-3. I don't think it was wrong. I just don't know if the defence are good enough against the teams such as Liverpool. And I think that what we saw was the gulf in class between these two teams in an attacking sense compared to defensive senses. Liverpool were better defensively, so they conceded less goals. We're very good going forward, we still scored 3, but we're not very good defensively, so they scored 5. Even though there was 8 goals, and it's very easy to get into like a complex mental rhythm as to how we look at this game and why Chelsea lost, I think it's just a case of 2 very good attacking teams and one team that clearly couldn't defend anywhere near the level that the other could, even if they didn't defend that well either. So moving into box number 5, I've gone with another green box again, and I thought there were some serious positives on the right-hand side of Chelsea's play. I thought that despite the defensive errors, I thought Reece James was very good. I thought that what he tried to do going forward was good. I think positionally, he wasn't bad defensively, and I think that his passing and the way he tried to get forward was very impressive. I was also very impressed with Callum Hudson-Odoi. I thought that a lot of his runs were very positive. He's trying to get down to the byline again. He's not frightened to take players on. And I think, again, with all of the criticism that he's come under in the media from the various stories, and you hear little things that are probably not even close to being true about Hudson-Odoi being unhappy. And I said it in the video before where I mentioned that if Callum Hudson-Odoi was happy to not be starting minutes for Chelsea, I'd wonder why he even signed the new deal in the first place. So the hunger that I saw from Callum was very good. I think that sometimes tracking back, he still needs to work a bit like another winger of ours in the past, but he was still so good that we didn't mind about it. So I see the potential with Callum. I'm still very excited about him, despite the players we've got coming through. And I think that, again, in this performance, he showed that even against the big teams, he's not frightened to use his ability to take on players and try and get Chelsea into better attacking positions. So, despite an overall poor result, I've decided to give these two a green box, and I wanted to finish box number 6 just by putting Liverpool above Chelsea and coming to like a point of realism right now with where we're at with this Chelsea team. Liverpool this season have been a gulf in class above us in terms of consistency, defending, just like their overall ability to kill a game is far better than what Chelsea's is. And what this game highlighted to us is that it doesn't matter how good we could be going forward. If we don't fix the defence, this team are going to still be like a seesaw that doesn't know how to calm down. And I think that in order for Chelsea to get to a level that's the same as Liverpool, we need to seriously address these issues defensively. And I don't know if it's necessarily all about the personnel or if it's some tactical coaching that needs to be implemented for next season. But this game, in the 37th game of the season, just indicated to me how alarming it is that Chelsea need to fix these defensive problems if we're ever going to be in the same conversation as Liverpool next season. I've said countless times that with the potential of Havertz, with Werner, with Ziyech, all of this is very exciting, but it's not necessarily going to fix Chelsea's problems at conceding 5 goals in games where we don't even really try to make a feasible defensive effort. This game really highlighted the very obvious for Chelsea fans yet again, that we're watching something that is very attractive when we're going forward, but going back, I need a drink. So yeah, gonna wrap this one up here. Liverpool 5, Chelsea 3. We've got to move on. It's a defeat that wasn't very nice. I did not enjoy it whatsoever, and to see Liverpool lift the trophy afterwards after being so convincing also reminded me, as with box number 6, that we are so far away, but there's definitely things being done to bridge that gap. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today. If you're not yet subscribed to the George Benson Football channel, I'd love to make you do so, or can't make you do so, but I'd love to see you subscribe, hit the like button on today's video, and of course, this is the final weekend of the Premier League season. Brand new Chelsea news video out tomorrow, as well as a match preview and 6 things we learned after Wolves, so stay tuned, and I'll see you all there. Goodbye.